Now Peter was sitting outside in the courtyard. A servant girl came to him and said, "You also were with Jesus the Galilean." But he denied it before all of them, saying, "I do not know what you are talking about." When he went out to the porch, another servant girl saw him, and she said to the bystanders, "This man was with Jesus of Nazareth." Again he denied it with an oath, "I do not know the man." After a little while, the bystanders came up and said to Peter, "Certainly, you are also one of them, for your accent betrays you." Then he began to curse, and he swore an oath, "I do not know the man." At that moment the cock crowed. Then Peter remembered what Jesus had said, "Before the cock crows, you will deny me 3 times." And he went out and wept bitterly.
That well-known little detail of Peter warming himself by the fire, that actually comes from the Gospels according to Luke and Mark. Nevertheless, what this change of scene does is it sets up for us another perspective on the question, who is Jesus? First, we looked at him in his own words. Now we take a look at who Peter says Jesus is. Peter was as close a friend as Jesus had for his 3 years of ministry. He was the first disciple he called with his brother Andrew. He knew Jesus so well, he trusted him so much that he's left his job, his livelihood to follow him. He knows he's the Messiah. He said as much. He's seen him and heard him do incredible things. There is no one who knows Jesus better. And yet when a little heat comes on around that fire, when it comes here to sticking his neck out for Jesus, when it comes to admitting he even knows Jesus, he chokes. If Jesus is on trial inside the high priest's house, Peter's trial takes place outside in the courtyard. His first accuser is a servant girl, a slave, a girl. In this age, someone who held no authority over Peter whatsoever, and yet even here, Peter denied it before all of them, saying, "I do not know what you are talking about." The second accuser is another servant girl. This time he goes deeper into denial with an oath. Time passes, and the third accusation comes from some people he's gathered with in the courtyard, and deeper still goes Peter into his denial. He curses this time and perjures himself again, lying under oath. "I do not know the man." And in that moment, his guilt is exposed, at least to Peter. The cock crowed and Jesus' prophecy of his denial comes to pass. Friends, if you're watching in Melbourne, it's not likely that we will face trial in court with the threat of death for knowing Jesus, but a trial like Peter's of social standing with the threat of public discredit, well, that's a trial I've faced time and time again over the course of my life. If you're a Christian, I'm sure you have too. I'm in a pub with a group of mates and someone makes a comment that mocks the irrelevance of Jesus and his followers in our modern world. At work, there's a few jibes at the intellectual suicide of being a Christian. In that WhatsApp group, there's a meme buzzing around making fun of Jesus' death at Easter. What am I going to do? Am I going to speak up? Am I going to admit that I even know him? That's the moment for me, maybe for you too, when just for a moment we're on trial like Peter was. I've been a Christian nearly 20 years. I know Jesus. I believe he really is the Son of Man, seated at the right hand of power, who will come on the clouds of heaven. I really believe that. And yet still, I can find myself denying it when a little bit of social heat comes my way. I can't do anything about those little trials that have come and gone. There's not much any of us can do to reclaim those moments. But what about the next one? What'll I do the next time I'm asked in some form or another, who is Jesus to me? Will I stand up and stand strong the next time that question comes? Will you? If you're comfortable praying, why don't we take a few minutes now in prayer before the next chapter, just on our own with Jesus, and ask him to fill us with strength and courage so we will own our relationship with him the next time we face a little heat for it.